Hey there, everyone. This is Dave Dubeau with another episode of the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. Today, zooming in all the way from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Mr. Trevor McGregor. Trevor, how are you doing today, my friend?
I am spectacular, Dave. How are you doing?
Life's lovely in the loops, that's for sure. So, Trevor, you are you're a very well-known person within real estate circles, because you're kind of the secret weapon behind some of the biggest names in real estate investing and real estate in general as their coach. Plus, you're a very, very accomplished real estate investor yourself. So today I'd really like to kind of talk about some of the mindset stuff that we see that gets in our way for really moving ahead with our real estate investing business. So before we get started with that, why don't you just kind of fill in some of the blank spaces I've left there for you and tell us a little bit about your background and kind of your background in real estate investing and your claim to fame with these well-known people.
Well, thank you so much. And yeah, born and raised on the prairies of Canada, born in Edmonton, Alberta, and, kind of had that beautiful upbringing where I played a lot of sports and I love, being the captain of the team and leading. And I think that was a precursor to what I'm doing now. Went to university, studied business, started working in corporate, soon found out that, the corporate arena wasn't as, fun as I thought it might be. And, had some investment opportunities in the business. Some of those didn't go well and ended up losing a bunch of money. So there I was roughly at the age of 29, trying to figure out how to pay back some failed business loans. And that's when I found real estate. I started working with a phenomenal coach. His name is Ozzie Jurock. I'm sure you know Ozzie quite well. Yeah. Ozzie kind of took me under his wing at his real estate action group and said, don't wait to buy real estate, buy real estate and wait. And I went out there and I, started in the lower mainland of Vancouver where I was living at that time. And I bought one little townhouse, pulled the money out of that after fixing it up, refied it, and bought a condo. Pulled the money out of that and I bought my first duplex, Dave. And I think that's when I discovered what cash flow really was. And then I went on and on and on to just continue to build and buy and build and buy and all of these things, and had a phenomenal cash flowing portfolio when a lot of other people started asking me, Trevor, how are you doing this? Can you show us how you're buying these condos, townhouses, duplexes, single family homes? And the more I teach people, like my son's baseball coach, right? And then they go out and buy property. And then I taught the swimming coach, and then I taught some school teachers. And in a relatively short amount of time, I think that's when the coaching bug bit. As all I wanted to do was help other people do this. So I ended up leaving corporate, went out there, got my coaching certification, and then I went to work for the man, the myth, the legend, yes, Tony Robbins, wow, for over half a decade. And it was really there that I cut my teeth working with millionaires, billionaires, and a whole bunch of real estate investors that were really looking to go big. And then ultimately, I've done over 25,000 coaching sessions now. That's an actual statistic. And all I do is love to help other people see that there's only two things you need to be successful in real estate. One is to have that peak performance mindset. The other one is to model best practices. So if you can have a high performance, peak performance mindset, and you can model what the Dave Dubeaus of the world are doing and the Trevor McGregors of the doing, you can absolutely move your empire north.
Well, that is awesome. I don't think I knew that whole backstory before. I didn't realize that you started with the real estate and then kind of informally coaching people piqued your passion for getting into the coaching business. I knew about the Tony Robbins thing, but yep, I didn't know that it was real estate that led you into that. That's very, very cool. Very interesting. So you definitely have it completely dialed in for us as what I affectionately call us real estate weirdos.
Love that.
Getting our mindset right, because quite frankly, following people that have succeeded before, everybody thinks that's the magic bullet, and it is. It's very important that you're following a proven path. However, in my perspective, that's kind of the easy stuff. The harder stuff is dealing with all the internal dialogue going on inside our noggins and trying to get our heads on right about this whole thing and just blasting through our own, it sounds cliche, but self-limiting beliefs, because
that's it.
Dude, that's what holds me back. And I think that's what holds a lot of people back. So what what would you say, are a couple of those self-limiting beliefs that really, really get in people's way?
Oh, it's such a great question, Dave. And I know you and I have known each other for years and years and years and years. And this isn't new to you, but it might be new to the listener that, Tony's got a great quote. He says that success is 80% psychology and 20% mechanics or action steps. So when I really think about what you've done, what I've done, what maybe the listener's looking to do, they do have some tremendous limiting beliefs. And I'm telling you, these are universal. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter if you're in Canada, the US, some of my clients in the UK or Australia, everybody I've ever coached has literally come up against things again in this 3-pound mass between their ears called their brain because of limiting beliefs, because of doubt, fear, worry, anxiety. So some of the biggest problems out there are, deals are hard to find, or what if I lose my money? Or what if I lose other people's money? Oh no, not that one, Trevor. Yep. Or what if I, bring in the wrong tenants and all of a sudden I find myself, with a situation, or what are interest rates going? Or what if the government changes things? So again, at the end of the day,
we're in a bubble?
What if we're in a bubble? What if there's a pandemic or a black swan event? And so what we do is we've got to start by getting rid of all of those limiting beliefs by really going deep into people's psychology, their identity, their past performance, what their neighbor told them and all these other things, because there's something called the law of polarity. And the law of polarity, you might want to write that down because it is so helpful, because I can tell you that for everything that exists in the universe, the polar opposite also exists. I'll give you an explanation. You can't have day without night. Mm-hmm. You can't have black without white. You can't have the North Pole without the South Pole. Therefore, you can't have a deal that's hard to find without there being a deal that you can find, right? But you got to take intelligent and inspired action. So for people that go, I'll never be able to raise money, well, the polar opposite of that, as you bring in the law of polarity, is, you know what, if I go work at it and I listen to what Dave says to do and what Trevor says to do, I can go out there and raise money. Or for people that think, oh my gosh, I might not be able to, manage the asset or run the business plan. Well, what if you chose the other side of that, which is there's lots of people out there that own real estate that are executing on it beautifully and creating cash flowing portfolios. So at the end of the day, it's like that old Henry Ford quote. If you think you can't, you can't. But if you think you can, not only can you, but you will. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me. And unfortunately, I think it's one of those things that might sound easy, but might be a little bit challenging to actually do. I don't know what it is as us as humans that we just get in our own ways so much and just put up these walls and we hear about the comfort zone and just staying in there. And it's just, as long as you're surviving, it's okay. And it seems to take some cataclysmic shift to get us to move our asses and actually do what we really want to do. So any tips on how to have a self-inflicted cataclysmic shift?
Well, absolutely, my friend, because, again, I'd have the listeners write this down, that every problem is a problem of perspective. I'll say it again. Every problem is a problem of perspective. So no matter what doubt, fear, worry, anxiety, whatever you're coming up against as you're trying to unleash yourself as a real estate investor, whether you're a newbie, whether you're an intermediate, whether you're an expert, I find that there are 4 things that no matter what's keeping you stuck, that you've got to check in with to absolutely catapult beyond the challenges. And believe it or not, Dave, all of those 4 things start with the letter S, as in superhero. So let me go into them real quick for the listeners, because they're powerful things. And the first S we're going to talk about is your state management. And your state management really refers to how you're showing up in your mind and what you're giving your thoughts, your energy, and your focus to. So if you're going, oh my gosh, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to lose money. I don't want to find, a property and have a cracked foundation underneath it. If you're always thinking about what you don't want, trust me, you're going to attract exactly what you give your focus to. So we want to get you to focus on what you do want. And then you got to go out there and take intelligent and inspired action towards it. Note that I just didn't say action. I said intelligent, which is smart, intelligent, which is smart. And then, really get excited or really get inspiration from people like you who have done what other people are trying to do or what I've done, or some of the biggest names in real estate that I've coached. Because I'll tell you, the number one thing that I've seen that has taken people from literally owning very little property to having over $1 billion in assets under management, and those are some of the people I coach, is literally what they put their focus on. That's their state management. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. So that's number one of your four S's. What's the second one?
The second one is your story. And your story is your identity. It's really, you're either a victim or you're choosing to be a victor, right? And the victim is that smaller self that some people like to hunker down in and say, but it's really hard.
A lot of us do, man. A lot of us. Yeah.
So nothing ever great was achieved by somebody living in their lower self. You've got to step into your biggest self, your highest self. Do things like Elon Musk does, or Richard Branson, or Oprah Winfrey, right? They didn't achieve success by playing small. They achieved success by aligning their state and their story to go after what it is they wanted. Does that make sense?
Those are phenomenal examples as well. I was just thinking about Musk the other day, and it was like, so many of us want to make impact on the world. Well, that guy is making an impact on humanity. It's mind-boggling. All right, so we got state, we got story. What comes next, Trevor?
Well, the next one, David, is really a really fun one, which is your strategy.
Okay.
And your strategy is basically your roadmap, your recipe, your blueprint, your GPS that's going to take you from where you are to where you want to be. So if you're literally buying, single family homes, or you're buying small multifamily, or maybe some people want to get into mobile home parks or assisted living, or who knows? But for whatever you're looking to do, the goal is to identify where you're starting from, where you want to go, and then we reverse engineer the plan to get there. And that's also what I help people with, because again, those who fail to plan to fail. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about knowing that. You got to know your why. What is your why? Mm-hmm. What's the big, fat, compelling reason that's going to get you up early, get you keeping stay up late at night, that's going to get you to go absolutely under, over, or around, or through any obstacle that's holding you back? Because once you align your state, which is your focus, your story, which is your identity, then you've got a strategy to execute on. You're getting really, really close to being able to unleash your real estate power.
Fantastic. All right. State, story, strategy. There's one more. What's the fourth?
Well, Dave, this is my favorite, and I'm sure you'll resonate with this one, because number 4 is your standards.
Okay.
It's your standards, because here's the truth. I can tell the quality of somebody's results as an investor by the standards they hold themselves to. I mean, if you really think about it, check in and do personal inventory with yourself right now. Are you getting up early? Are you listening to these great podcasts like Dave's? Are you going to meetups? Are you going to events? Are you reading the great books that are available from other people who have already done what it is you want to do? Because I can tell who's interested, Dave, and I can tell who's committed. And here's the difference. The people that are interested in real estate success will do what's convenient, whereas the people that are committed to real estate success, they'll do whatever it takes. So when I say do personal inventory, it's not to beat yourself up. It's to get real with yourself and ask, am I holding myself to the standard that it takes to go out there and win the game of real estate? So what we do now is we circle back, because if you can align your state management or your focus with your story that's a powerful identity, with a proven strategy or blueprint or roadmap, and you can hold yourself to that higher standard, it's absolutely impossible not to make progress. And progress, my friend, equals happiness. We're most happy when we're moving towards something, and it's not really the destination that's important. It's who you become along the way by owning those 4 S's. What do you think?
I think it's phenomenal. I think it's fantastic. I've been writing down notes like a madman here. It's I love the clarity, right? Like you simplify it, it makes sense. It's not all this woo-woo stuff. It actually brings it right down there. So just very quickly, if you don't mind, Trevor, why don't you share, if you can, share a story of one of your well-known clients. I wouldn't mind if you share their name and
Sure.
where they started from and where they are now, because you kind of teased about it a little bit, but show us what really taking on these four things can really do for us if we take this seriously?
Well, sure. I mean, I think some of the listeners may have heard of this guy. His name is Mr. Joe Fairless. And Joe and I started to work together back in 2013. So we've been working together, gosh, at the time we're recording this, that's 8 years. In fact, I just had a call with Joe on Friday. And Joe was a guy that owned 4 single-family homes in the state of Texas. And those 4 single-family homes were worth about $60,000 a piece. And every time, Joe would rent it out, the tenant would leave and he'd have to repaint it, recarpet it. He didn't really choose his tenants well back in the day, but he found out that there wasn't a lot of profit in that. And so we pivoted, from that to starting to buy some multifamily property. And he literally, went and bought his first apartment building, refied that, had a good experience, bought his second, then his third, then his fifth, then his eighth, then his 10th. And Joe's gone on to not only achieve a phenomenal level of success, but he now has over 10,000 doors in his portfolio, worth about $1.1 billion in assets under management. He's got a great podcast called The Best Real Estate Advice Show Ever. Yeah. He's written 3 great books and he puts on incredible conferences. So what's the story about that? Well, I knew Joe when he didn't know even how to spell the word real estate, right? He's literally wet behind the ears, but we aligned his state, his story, his strategy, and his standards. And it really reminds me to remind the listeners that people often overestimate what they can do in a year, but they underestimate what they can do in 2, 3, 5, 8,
That's
10
not even
years.
a decade, for crying out loud.
That's it. And wow. I've got other clients, Joe's with Ashcroft Capital. I've got other clients with Viking Capital out of Virginia, Wildhorn Capital out of Texas. I've got a ton of people that have made a fortune in single family homes. I have one guy in New Jersey. He started with one little house. He bought 2, 3, 5. He's got over 52 single family homes right now, and he's in his late 30s. So you got to think about what that's going to do for him and his 4 kids to set them up for success as they move forward. But again, it goes back to one question. How hungry are you, right? How hungry are you for real estate success? And number 2, how passionate are you? Because I'm telling you, where there's passion, not only is there purpose, but there's profit waiting for you on the other side of it.
Well, that's awesome. All right, my friend. Well, Trevor, I'm very pleased that we're going to be holding a webinar where we can get a little bit more in depth about all of this. It's actually a masterclass, and we're going to be doing this on Wednesday, June the 23rd. So if our listeners would like to, June the 23rd, 2021. So this is, as you're hearing, this is probably next week that this is going to be happening. So tell people a little bit about that and why they might want to be on this masterclass. Not only just to get more of Trevor McGregor and a little bit more in-depth training, but what are they going to come away with?
Well, again, thank you, Dave. And it's great to, support you and your listeners and in terms of what I believe is a phenomenal opportunity. I mean, you can tell I'm just a wee bit passionate about this stuff. And it's really my life purpose as I continue to do real estate and continue to coach people all over, the world for that matter. But what I love doing is putting on masterclasses. And we've got a masterclass coming up with my partner, Tyler Chesser, called Elevate Your Real Estate Game, right? And Elevate Your Real Estate Game is where we literally pull back the curtain and go into even deeper examples of what holds most people back. What prevents them from really grabbing the bull by the horns and moving through this. So the masterclass is about 45 minutes long, and we're going to go through some psychology. We're going to go through some strategy. We're going to even talk about time management or event management so people can do more in less time. And really, when you start to put these puzzle pieces together, you start to get a little bit more certainty, a little bit more clarity, and a little bit more confidence to then go out there and apply what you learn.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. I haven't seen this presentation yet, so I'll be one of the participants in there like a dirty shirt. And again, you guys, if you're interested in this, it's going to be happening on Wednesday, June the 23rd, 2021. And if people want to sign up for this masterclass, I love the URL here, $1,000,000investor.com. That's easy. That's easy to remember. $1,000,000investor.com. It should be in the show notes below this. And Trevor, we're going to have a lot of fun. I really appreciate you putting this on.
Well, thank you, Dave, for your support. And every time you and I get together, we always have fun. We always have a lot of laughs. And I'm sure that the listeners are going to want to bring a pen and a notebook, because there's just going to be some gold that we deliver. Again, www.milliondolarinvestor.com. You can sign up. It's free. And again, it's one way that we give back, because I'll tell you, Tony Robbins was a phenomenal coach and mentor. And if he instilled one thing in me, Dave, it was this, that the secret to living is giving. So this is my way and my partner Tyler's way of giving back. And we'll have a lot of fun along the way as well.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Have a great one.
You too. All right, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Well, hey there. Thanks for tuning into the Property Profits Podcast. If you like this episode, that's great. Please go ahead and subscribe on iTunes. Give us a good review. That'd be awesome. I appreciate that. And if you're looking to attract investors and raise capital for your deals, then I'm going to invite you to get a complimentary copy of my newest book, right back there. There it is. The Money Partner Formula. You can get a PDF version at investorattractionbook.com. Again, investorattractionbook.com. Take care.